Hello, Stampin' Friends. It's Tuesday night. That means it's time for Tuesday Night Stampin' Club with Julia Mazer. That's me. And I'm just pulling it up on my screen here to make sure if anyone is asking any questions, I can answer them as they come along, and making sure that we're in focus here and we have some good lighting and I'm in the right spot, and it looks like I am. So tonight I am going to show you this cute Sweet as a Peach card. This is the Sweet as a Peach stamp set, and there are coordinating dies that go with it, but you don't even need to get the dies. I mean, I always like to get the bundle because you get a discount on it, and it's just nice to be able to cut out these images with the dies. There are some little extra dies, little flowers that go along with it, and leaves. You could also just cut these images out by hand with your scissors if you're on a little budget there. And this Sweet as a Peach stamp set is photopolymer. That means it's clear. And, oh my goodness, where did my stamp set go? I can't believe I can't find it. That's so funny. I'm all set, ready to go here with all of my supplies. And there it is. Oh my goodness. So photopolymer means that it's clear. And what I do is I take my chamois. This is our cleaning tool, and I rub it up and around along my stamps to kind of get the processing residues off, and then it's good to go. What else I did was I stamped it, inked all of these stamps up in the Pale Papaya, a light ink, to kind of prime it, so when I used the Calypso Coral, it wasn't going to stain it as much. If you've watched me before, you've probably seen me do that. Now you might notice on this stamp case, this is a new set, and so the, oh my goodness, this plastic that these stamps come on, this is where we used to print the images so you could put your stamps on there, but now they're on the insert, and so you can put your stamps, oops, I almost pulled that apart there, directly on the inside of the stamp case, so you don't lose them. So this is great. I'm very excited for all of this. I've been playing around with Sweet as a Peach. I just love it. I was so drawn to it. And I am hosting a class June 12th. And you get the stamp set. You would order the stamp set because my early registration has passed. But you would just go to my website and order the Sweet as a Peach stamp set, which is 155050, and you're going to use the Your Peach host code when you check out. And you can also order some of these other items and the ink pads that you would need for that. So let's get started. I'm going to show you where I got this idea. Obviously, when I get started, I usually case from the catalog, and that's how I get started with all my cards. I love this card. It has the designer series paper in there, and it's a note card, so it's 3.5 by 5, and I wanted a full-size card. So I cut my designer series paper at 3.5 by 5.5, and I put it on a Pear Pizzazz card base. And I still love it. I love how it turns out, and I am going to actually add a little bling to mine. I'll show you in a little bit. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make the card. First of all, I want to show you the designer series paper. Love the watercolor look. This is Balmy Blue and Pale Papaya, Calypso Coral, Pear Pizzazz, and Old Olive. Now Granny Apple Green will also kind of coordinate with these papers, and you'll see that we have florals and the fruit. And on the flip side, or the B side, we have some patterns and some more little, these look like flowers, but they're little peaches, obviously, because it's the Sweet as a Peach and You're a Peach sweet. All right, so love this look with the watercolor, and let me show you how I put my card together. I took my Pear Pizzazz card base, and I have my 3.5 by 5.5 piece of DSP. Now you may have followed me before, and you know how when I get my designer series paper, I like to cut it at 4-inch strips. So I get, looks like I'm frozen there. Okay, we're back. Sorry that if we're freezing here. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going because maybe all is well on your end. All right, so you could do the 3.5 or you could do the 4, and then you get a nice little frame. It just kind of conserves your designer series paper if you cut it in the 4-inch strips versus the 4 1/4 to fill up that full-size card. So I think I'm going to keep with, well, actually let me use the 4 and see what you guys think. Okay, oops, I got some remnants of my dimensional backings. I'm using my Stampin' Seal, dragging it and kind of tipping it and pulling back. And I am going to line this up. So I have a smaller frame because I cut my paper at 4 inches instead of 3.5 with my sample here. Okay. Now I also have this piece that's 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. This is going to be my focal piece. And when you cut up all your designer series paper, you're usually left with strips of paper. So this is the B side, and again, I'm casing from the catalog, so I'm sure that's where they came up with this idea. They had some strips left over, and I'm going to add that to the top of this little piece of paper. My adhesive's kind of sticking out there, and it just adds a little something. Okay, it's very subtle. A little crooked on camera, but that's okay. And I'm going to take my old Olive ink, and I'm going to take my Sweet as a Peach. I'm going to give you a little tip here. You can take your greetings, your sentiments, and on grid paper or lined paper, you can line up the sentiment. Let's see, can you see this? Yep. And then I'm going to take my block, and the top of the block, I'm going to line up with one of these lines so that I can actually line up my stamp with the block edge versus just the stamp. Sometimes it's kind of hard with different fonts to see through. Tap, 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 ink it up. Oh, let me pull out my trusty foam mat here. With the photopolymer, you want to put something under there. Okay, Sweet as a Peach, beautiful. Okay, now these I popped up, so I stamped them and then I popped them up. I cut them out with the dies and then I popped them up. So let me show you how I did that because I have a special technique here. So I have my Pale Papaya, which is one of our new ink colors, and Calypso Coral. And I'm going to show you how I got this beautiful look. Let me get my foam here. Okay, so you get a nice, beautiful shading. And let me show you. I'm going to ink this up in just the Pale Papaya and stamp. Okay, and it's beautiful just like that. And you could even do it in Calypso Coral if you don't have the new Pale Papaya. But let me show you how I just got this beautiful look that's featured in the catalog. I inked it up with Pale Papaya, took a sponge dauber. It's a little sponge that fits on your finger. Inked up some Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to tap it in some different areas to give it that shading. You might need to re-moisten it, and then you stamp it down. And that's how you get that beautiful shading, okay? And I did the same thing with the leaves here. So let me show you. Let's close these up. I have a tendency to stamp in the wrong ink pad if I leave them open. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to start with the light color, which is the Pear Pizzazz. Stamp, stamp, stamp. In the pear, I have another dauber with my old olive ink. And I'm just going to add some ink to the stem right there. I'm going to stamp it on my cardstock. And let me show you, just ink it up. Let me just show you what it looks like in just the pear. You still get that gradiated look, I guess, with the color, but it just intensifies when you use the sponge dauber. So it's a beautiful set, even without the sponge daubers. I just love adding that extra to it. Okay, so let's close these up and let's get started cutting. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Now, what I love about these dies, these are the, what are they called? They're obviously in the Europeach suite, but the dies themselves are called peach dies. Okay, and they all fit in the mini cut and emboss, which is very exciting. So I'm going to pull out my mini here, Make sure that it's not on my paper. That's how I end up ripping my paper. Now we don't have a magnetic plate, so I'm just gonna use my trusty mini Post-it notes here. I'm gonna grab my peach and my leaves, so I can cut out one peach and one set of leaves at a time. I'm going to put them on the plates, line up the die, press that down. Here are my leaf dies. Get another little mini Post-it. You can even cut these in half and just reuse them as well. Okay, make a sandwich, put it on the mini cut and emboss, and crank it through. And there we go. Carefully peel off the Post-it note. There's one peach. There's one set. I just need to wipe off there. I was cut a whole bunch of black cardstock, and I haven't wiped off my plates yet. As soon as I wipe off my plates, they'll they won't get all these little pieces of black on there. I just need to clean up after myself. You know, sometimes I have to run out of here after I spend an afternoon stamping. They call me to go and run and make dinner. Okay, let's make sure you can see what I'm doing here. Sometimes I bring it too close to me and it ends up off camera, and that doesn't help showing all of you out there what I'm doing. So anybody watching live, and what do you think about the Your Peach suite and the Sweet as a Peach stamp set? I do like fruit, and I do love the watercolor look, so this is up my alley. Okay, let's set all this aside. I don't want to knock anything. Okay. All right, and let's pull our card again. Here is our sample, and here's our little focal point piece. You could pop it up. I think I'll pop it up on this one. This will be a double pop-up card. So I'm using my dimensionals. I'm just going to use one in each corner. On my original sample, I just used my Stampin' Seal to put it right on. And then I'm going to use two on the peach. And I ran out of my mini dimensionals. I would use the mini dimensionals on my, oh no, I hope you can see. I can't watch my video on my computer, so if you're commenting, I might not see, but I see someone's watching on my phone, so that's exciting that I think we're still live. Okay, so here's one peach, and the second peach. And then I'm actually going to be very frugal here and use these little edge pieces of my dimensionals. Waste not, want not. And I do have some glue dots here. Typically our glue dots come in a roll, but these are from my paper pumpkin kits, and you always get so many that I have extras laying around all the time, which is a great thing because I ran out and did not get my order yet. Okay, so that's gonna go there. And this one's gonna go on the other peach. Just like that. So cute. Okay, perfect card just like that. But I am going to use my favorite embellishment, which are the Artistry Blooms, and I think we'll use this color. Oh, I could use the blue, but I think I'm going to use I think these are the coral, the Calypso Coral. And I'm just going to use, do I want to use a big one? No, I think I'm just going to use the little ones to just add a touch of bling. And I'll put two down here. Oh, that doesn't want to stick very well. There we go. Okay, and we'll put one up top. Maybe right there, there. No, let's put it up here. Okay, so you can see that little shimmer just adds a little bit, and I love these artistry blooms because they mail pretty flat. I learned that sometimes if you have a card that's a little too puffy, it costs a little bit extra postage. It's that 80 cents, I think. Oh my goodness, the amounts keep changing. It's the kind that you use like wedding invitations, so anything that's kind of bulky. It still can go through the mail, you just need to add that extra postage. So there are our samples for tonight. I also thought it would be nice to put it on just white cardstock. If you have the thick white cardstock, that's great to have cut and cut and scored, ready to go, so you can make quick cards. And I thought that would be nice too. I just love this beautiful paper. And again, if you'd like to join me on Saturday, June 12th, for a virtual card making class, we're going to be using the Sweet as a Peach stamp set. So you would need to order this as soon as possible on my online store, and you'll use the Your Peach host code. This stamp set will get mailed directly to you from Stampin' Up, and then I will mail you the supplies, the cardstock and the paper, and some embellishments to make 6 cards. We're going to make 2 each of 3 different designs, okay? And our coordinating ink that we're going to use, and if you don't have these, you can either order them using the host code or use something comparable. Okay, so we have the Pale Papaya, which is kind of like a peachy color, the Calypso Coral, the Old Olive, and Pear Pizzazz. And you know, Pear Pizzazz and Old Olive are so close that you can just use Old Olive and then use the technique to stamp off. And in our card class, we are also going to use Early Espresso, which is a nice dark chocolate color. All right, so those are the 4 ink pads that I suggest. This is the stamp set that we're using, and you'll also need a block. If you only have one block or can get just one block, the D block is a great one to start with. Okay, and just remember that there is a bundle available, and I hope you can join me for class. I've been having lots of fun having virtual classes, and thanks for joining me tonight. Hope you learned something new. And oh, one last thing, it is June 1st. That means our kits are now available. Last week I talked about Stampin' Up's new kit collection, and these kits are now available. You know, we've had Paper Pumpkin, which is a monthly subscription kit, but now you can order online at my website, jmazer.stampinup.net, and you can see which kits are currently available. Some of them are repurposed Paper Pumpkin kits, and some of them are new. This one featured on the cover, which is called Note of Cheer. This one's new, and you can check out my post on my Facebook page and my blog, and you can see these kits in action. So remember, these are available now, June 1st, and don't forget, I have a Your Peach class, and thanks for joining me. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.